part of this whole thing is that you have to wait for people to come, and I don't like to do that, so I figured I would go get a coffee. So yeah, everybody okay? Everybody staying inside, washing their hands, doing that. That's great. We appreciate that. I know Donald Trump yesterday was talking about sending people back to fill the churches for Easter. So we've got that to look forward. Getting people sick at Easter. But anyways, what's up, Jude? This is Judy. She'll come in and out of this. Come here. Look, what are you doing? So yeah, I'm gonna play some songs to people that requested like bass tutorials on songs. I figure I'll just do that at the end. So if you're a bass player and you just want to stick around, that's cool. Or maybe come back in 30 minutes and we can do some bass stuff. But yeah, so I'll play a handful of songs and then I'll try to read some of these things. But it's weird when you read them because you have to get really close, and then it's strange. But I tried to look at the suggestions that people had for songs. So I'm trying to do a fair amount of those requests, but also don't want to do songs that I don't know right now. I always see the same things when I close my eyes. I was just hoping I could ease my mind. Son of a father, son of Sam, the daughter of a mother in another man's hands. But I know there's no justice, there are only lies. There are no prisons, there are only lies. There is no last one, or one and a half. I also thought it would be interesting to kind of like just talk a little bit about these songs. Ghost of Alexandria, which was that song just played, it's off of the General Strike record. Kind of like, I don't know, a forgotten song in our world. I really liked it when we wrote it, but we never played it. We played it live maybe like a handful of times, right when the record came out. But yes, I mean, you've got so many songs, you can't play them all. But that song in particular, just, you know, like, talking about, you know, Washington, D.C. As a whole, and you know, it's been a cesspool of people not making decisions with empathy, and you know, it's a sort of like a "If These Walls Could Talk" type of song. But yeah, so this song is called 2020 Vision. It's the title track of the newest record, and boy, more than ever do we need to have a reminder that another world is possible. Because certainly the one we're living in is filled with a lot of pain for a lot of people, and if you're hurting and you know someone who's hurting, we feel for you, and this community is predicated upon that empathy, and so. Yeah, it's a song about the future and putting power in the hands of the people, not the folks that the power is currently in the hands of right now. I had a 2020 vision of the last of the wrongs undone. No more hate, no division. No one is free until the war is won. Also, that song has that "people are the gun" lyric in there. Pat actually came up with that as a title for the record, "The People Are the Gun," and then we wrote a song called "The People Are the Gun," and it never made it on the record. And I don't even know where it went. Like, I couldn't tell you. Like, we have a demo of it somewhere, but I always thought that was such a great line. Which side are you on? The people or the gun? And there is no lyric of the people of that, the people or the gun, in that album. So, kind of a callback. A lot of people requested this song. It's one we never play. But yeah, I'll do my best. Couple interesting things about that song is that's the second song I brought in when I joined the band. And I had one song written with like another band that I was in, and that became Daddy Warbucks, which is also on the Underground Network record. And then Bring Out Your Dead was like the first riff that I brought into those guys and was like, can we make this into a song? A lot of people ask how to play that on bass too, so I guess we can do that in the bass guitar section of this thing. This next song is another one that was requested, and I would have not ever done this, but on the last European tour we did, we were out with a band called The Creep Show, and Chuck from The Creep Show introduced me to his friend JC, who had done a cover of this song, and I had never in my mind heard this song this way. So it unlocked a door for me, and I'm very appreciative of Chuck and JC for sharing it with me. But I wrote this song for my brother. It's on Bright Lights of America. The song's called If You Want to Steal. Yeah, that record is like kind of a tough one for us. I love the record and I love the songs on it. And I'm very happy that we did it. But I know that I was still grieving the death of my sister. She was a victim of violent crime, and She was murdered a few months, half a year before we recorded the record. And you're never over something like that. But I certainly was not that good at managing my my grief and living with my grief, and so I don't necessarily know that we were in the right headspace to be making a record at that time. And subsequently, some of the songs are a little bit self-indulgent and definitely longer than they should be. But it was a great experience to work with Tony Visconti, and we made a lifelong friend in Mario McNulty making Bright Lights of America. So forever indebted to that album. It changed a lot for us. But one of the reasons that we don't play a lot of songs off that record is that we just didn't. It was kind of a dark period in our world. But anyways, I'm going to do my best to do this. I haven't played this song in a very long time, and yeah. Father Michael is a genius, sees this world the way no one can. Brought me up and he changed my mind at the tender, youthful age of 9. Said don't take this for the way it is. You better watch the sun when you give in. Before you know it, the friends you trust will have stabbed you in the back, he said. If you wanna steal, you better learn how to lie. If you wanna live, you better not fear how you die. Heaven and hell are just a myth, so you better pay attention to this moment. Interesting part about that song, lyrically in the bridge, that line about taking my TV out of my bedroom, that was real. And I think a good lesson for right now, whenever we are in a heightened state of fear and, perpetual 24-hour news pushing that fear, is during the lead up and the subsequent shock and awe beginning of the Iraq War. That was when they really ramped up the 24-hour news cycle, and I had to take the TV out of my bedroom because it was making me crazy, having all of that blast into our lives every minute. Seems every station on the TV is selling something no one can be. Every page must open the magazine. What can still drive a media machine? The bodies that we consume are endless. I dare you leave yourself this. We will not witness this anymore. This is the end for you, my friend. I can't forgive, I won't forget. We sing our songs and your walls wage on it. We sing our songs for more. Your eyes are open, but you can't see. Your mouth keeps moving. No, you don't speak. It's a bit weird, it's just like you will. And I hope you choke on every pill. We will not witness this anymore. This is the end for you, my friend. I can't forgive, I won't forget. We sing our songs and your walls wage on it. We sing our songs for more. Not sure what's going on with this thing. I'm not sure if it stopped in the middle, so I started it over again. Did that stop in the middle of that song, or was it going? Sorry if it did. Cool. I got an interesting amount of requests for like random songs too, and trying to whittle them into a real place was difficult, but I'm gonna do two strange requests that I saw. This is a White Wives song called Hungry Ghost. White Wives was a band that Chris Head and I were in with our friends Roger Harvey, Christo, who runs AF Records, Josh Massey, who you know from Anti-Flag Merch World and Scattered Pictures. He takes a lot of great photos. Our brother Tyler played drums in that band, and we did like a lot of work in 2011 to 14, maybe? I can't remember. But now we're all scattered all over the place and we're all too busy. But this song's called Hungry Ghost. And I haven't played it since Roger was in Pittsburgh. And my partner Jane and I were talking about this yesterday as I was like doing a refresher of songs. It was 5 years ago the last time we played this song. So, but if I make a mistake, you won't know anyway. So. This was another one that just somebody I know requested to hear, and it's got an interesting story. Only because, so on the Terror State, there's a song called Post-War Breakout, and that song's lyrics were written by Woody Guthrie, and at the time, now it's in I think in Oklahoma, but the Woody Guthrie Museum was in New York City, so Justin was still working on Terror State, so Pat and I went to the Woody Guthrie Archive in New York City, and they have literally like all of Woody Guthrie's lyrics, many of which had never been put to music because recording capabilities weren't what they are now, to say the least. But he just wrote all day long, and even on his deathbed he wrote. Like, you see in the middle of some of these, like towards the later part of his life, he's writing in pen, and then some of them switched to typewriter because he could no longer hold a pen. But one of the other things we noticed was that towards the end of his life, he certainly he got a little bit more frisky and sexual with his lyrics, and that was an interesting thing to see. Like, there were lyrics like, "Girl, I want to roll around in your grassy knoll," and I'm like, Woody, you're not leaving much to the imagination there, my friend. But a great example of this is the Billy Bragg and Wilco Mermaid Avenue record, where they went and they just took a full album's worth of lyrics from Woody and wrote music to them. So I'm not going to play Post-War Breakout. Post-War Breakout is our... we took some of Woody's lyrics and put it to some music that we had on Terror State. But this is one of the Billy Bragg and Wilco songs. It's called Ingrid Bergman. And you will undoubtedly see the sexual innuendo in this song. It is palpable. And it's just great because, you know, obviously we know and love Woody Guthrie because of This Land Is Your Land, This Machine Kills Fascists, the work he has done to elevate fascist fighting music. But it's great to think of him as a dirty old man too. So this is Ingrid Bergman. To touch its hard rock. It's not a lot hidden in that metaphor, I suppose, eh? So I have 3 more songs written down, and then we could do some bass tutorials and things like that. This is cool. It's scary. It's weird. Like, just talking out into the void and hoping that anyone cares or knows. So yeah, I appreciate everyone taking time out of their day to hang out. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it's awkward. It's scary. I don't like it. I'd much rather be at the punk show with all of you. But I think that these next few weeks and months of our lives are really important, and Punk rock has always been at the forefront of spreading empathy and putting people before profit. So when they tell you to go back to business as usual, I'm hopeful that this moment will galvanize us, and that those folks that blatantly showed how much more they care about the stock market than they do about you or your relatives or the people that are closest to you, and beyond that, the people that you don't even know of. I hope that the chickens will come home to roost, and this is a song of solidarity for all of you. Yeah, thanks for hanging out. I'm gonna do just a few more of these, then we'll do some bass shit, and yeah. I'm trying to read the stuff, but it comes too fast. And if they come for you in the night, they will come for me in the morning. If they come for you in the night, they will come for me in the morning. There's a fuck. Look outside your window, there's a woman being grabbed. They wrote it with their ribbons and a Bible in their hand. Maybe we should go inside and try to stop the pain, but the anthem started playing. I hate the game. Sweating in the ghetto with the Panthers and the bull. Orange will do it all for you, get up and rock the floor. The whole become a riot and the dreamers in the rock. They got their weapon pennies, besides they got the cops. They come for you in the night. They will come for me in the morning. They come for you in the night. They will come for me in the morning. Alright. Now there's a dirty paper using sex to make a sale. We're all supposed to turn out in the outcome will fail. Maybe we should go inside and try to stop the pain. Busy reading Playboy and the Sun and New York Times. If they come for you in the night, they will come for me in the morning. If they come for you in the night, they will come for me in the morning. What do you say now with the firelight? No, we don't need another warning. If they come for you in the night, they will come for me in the morning. If they come for you in the night, they will come for me in the morning. If they come for you in the night, they will come for me in the morning. What do you say now with the firelight? No, we don't need another warning. And if they come for you in the night, they will come for me in the morning. I'll see you when the wall falls. Well, for those of you playing along at home, there were two forgotten lyrics in that song. One was more charming than the other. But yeah, I usually have, when we do that song acoustic, I always fuck up the lyrics on that song. When we do that song acoustic, I usually have Justin to rely on. He'll like give me a shove or at least say the right word into the microphone so I know what to do. Okay, cool. So this song is from the new record. A lot of people requested this. Justin or I can play this one on our own, so figured I'd do it this time. He could do it next time. The song's called Un-American. Was a kind of a hard song for us to write. We've never, the definition of what American is something we've never really prescribed to as a band. Your where you're born isn't isn't something that you should hold over another person. So when we had this idea and this lyric and you know, this idea to kind of take this song that is about what real life in this country is for so many people, and we kind of gave it this like Americana Chevy commercial musical treatment to juxtapose the lyrics, and I think that it worked. But to say that it wasn't arduous when writing, and you know, the interesting thing about our band is we don't argue over politics ever. I mean, you know, we get asked that a lot in interviews, and people want to know whether or not we, you know, consistently agree with one another, if there are arguments as to what should make the record or what shouldn't make the record. That's seldom the case. I mean, more than not, we'll see something separately and come together and have already formed the same opinion about it. But this one in particular, there were a lot of discussions between Pat and Justin about whether or not we could say something is un-American, because then that immediately gives the notion that some version of being American is worth holding. And I think that our history as a band kind of answers where we stand on a lot of these things that we're facing right now. But I do think that you know, when we do play this song, we do like to talk about this, because it's not one of these ideas that, you know, dissent is patriotic, or that you by exercising your rights to challenge the powerful, you're being more American than another person. That's not really the concept of the song. It's just about what it's like to live and to try to empathize and put yourself in the shoes of other folks who are struggling within the constraints of border law. Again, I'm doing my best to read what you say, but it's really hard. So I'm going to do one more acoustic song. And then if you guys want to talk bass, I'm not sure how to do the bass thing. Like, I have it set up where I can play. We'll get into that after. I'll play this song and then we'll get into that. Anyways, this is a song that we wrote a few years ago, and when it seemed like we were on this trajectory, and we kind of wrote it as a reminder to ourselves that the things that we're fighting for are possible, and that there are these moments and tentpoles in the lineage of history that we can reflect on and look back to see that change is possible, that it consistently comes from the bottom up. It doesn't come from the top down. We've got to do the work to challenge elected officials, but prime ministers and presidents and popes are not our saviors. The only one that's going to save you is yourself and the community that you build. And this is a song about that simple idea. It's called Brandenburg Gate. On the record, Tim Armstrong sang on it. And that was just sort of our own validation. You know, we wanted to be connected to Rancid. They're one of our favorite bands, and the lyric is, she was searching for salvation in the things you buy. And I thought, man, it would be so fucking cool to have Tim Armstrong sing the word salvation on one of our records. And we saw him at oh gosh, what's the festival in Montreal? Anyways, we saw him at a festival in Montreal, and we told him that we were writing a new record, and we had this song, and we would love him to sing on it, and he just said, yeah, cool. And then it was awesome. He didn't, like, you know, a lot of times when people record things for other records, they just send the files, and you never really interact with them, but he came to the studio and actually sang it. Montreal 77, no, it wasn't Montreal 77. Rockfest in Montreal is what it was. But he actually came to the studio, and we got to spend some time with him, and it was funny because he was like struggling with the key a bit to find his voice and to find what was right for it, and it was kind of like a bit strange. Like, we were like, oh shit, is this going to come together? Is he bummed? You know, like, maybe the song needs to be in a different key for him. And then the Giants were in the World Series, the San Francisco Giants, and as you, I hope you know, Tim and Rancid are from the Bay Area, and the Giants won the World Series. He got filled with this great emotion of victory from the sports team, and then he went in and hit it, and that's the fucking take on the record. And I thought that was very cool. But anyways, the song's called Brandenburg Gate. Well, I lost my baby to a foreign war. She was cut down in the middle by the Western world. She was living in sin outside, that is really scary. I don't know if you know this, but it is scary. Petrifying. Usually I've got all these other people around me, and when I make a mistake, I just hide behind them. But yeah, that was cool. I've got a lot more songs I can play, but I figure we'll do this in another couple days, and that'll give us some different things to play. Yeah. Does anyone who is interested in the bass world portion of this thing, do you have an opinion on how it should be done? Like, I can play a